Hi, everybody. Welcome to the channel. I'm Drew. This is Notes to Utopia or Utopia Academia or Drutopia HQ, as it were. And on the stream today, I'm going to be looking at Sir Francis Bacon's New Atlantis, because this is really what inspired me in the first place to really think about the progression towards like utopic thinking, like back in the day, as you can tell by this man's outfit right here. You know, science and medicine just started to be a thing where they could actually craft medicines and save people's lives, and some philosophers started thinking like, hey, what kind of slippery slope is this? Are we gonna start to create better lives for more people, like in the future, with science and technology? Is that even possible? And what would be the end? What would like the end goal of that even look like? People started painting pictures in their imagination and thinking of islands like that and calling it Utopia. So that's kind of the language I still use here and there to describe it. So okay, so January 1561, that's when he was born, lived till 1622. Some classic years. Don't know anything about that. And new age internet baby, and I don't have time to know every century history and culture. But you know what? Maybe I do. Maybe I want to teach myself that. Here at Utopia Academia, we're down for all kinds of education. So, and learning about it from you. Just tell me all about it, chatters. But without further ado, I'm gonna play this synopsis of the book that Sir Francis Bacon wrote called The New Atlantis, which is only an hour and a half audiobook in itself, but this is a 6.5 minute explained and summarized video of the book. And I would like to hear it almost as like a preview or like a trailer to a movie. See if you know, something I want to invest my time in further. I think, well, invest your guys' time in further. I'm definitely gonna read it myself. But maybe if I continue to do long stream forms in the future, I'll turn this on. So here we go.
The story begins in the most artfully artless way, like the great tales of Defoe and Swift. We sailed from Peru, where we had continued for the space of 1 whole year, for China and Japan by the South Sea. Came a great calm, in which the ships for weeks lay quiet on the boundless ocean like specks upon a mirror, while the provisions of the adventurers ebbed away. And then resistless winds drove the vessels pitilessly north and north and north, out of the island dotted south into an endless wilderness of sea. The rations were reduced and reduced again, and again reduced, and disease took hold of the crew. At last, when they had resigned themselves to death, they saw, almost unbelieving, a fair island looming up under the sky. On the shore, as their vessel neared it, they saw not savages, but men simply and yet beautifully clothed, clean, and manifestly of developed intelligence.
I love how even philosophy back in the day was still like not nonfiction. It was still fiction. This kind of cracks me up. Like they couldn't help but write fiction back in the day. Like nonfiction was not a thing.
They were permitted to land, but were told that the island government allowed no strangers to remain. Nevertheless, since some of the crew were sick, they might all stay till these were well again. During the weeks of convalescence, the wanderers unraveled, day by day, the mystery of the New Atlantis. There reigned in this island about 1900 years ago, one of the inhabitants tells them, a king whose memory above all others we most adore. His name was Solomona, and we esteem him as the lawgiver of our nation. This king had a large heart and was wholly bent to make his kingdom and people happy. Among the excellent acts of that king, one above all hath the preeminence. It was the creation and institution of the order, or society, which is called Solomon's house, the noblest foundation, as we think, that was ever upon the earth, and the lantern of this kingdom. There follows a description of Solomon's house, too complicated for a quoted abstract, but eloquent enough to draw from the hostile Macaulay the judgment that there is not to be found in any human composition a passage more eminently distinguished by profound and serene wisdom. Solomon's house takes the place in the New Atlantis of the Houses of Parliament in London. It is the home of the island government. But there are no politicians there, no insolent elected persons, no national palaver, as Carlyle would say, no parties, caucuses, primaries, conventions, campaigns, buttons, lithographs, editorials, speeches, lies, and elections. The idea of filling public office by such dramatic methods seems never to have entered the heads of these Atlantans. But the road to the heights of scientific repute is open to all, and only those who have traveled the road sit in the councils of the state. It is a government of the people and for the people by the selected best of the people, a government by technicians, architects, astronomers, geologists, biologists, physicians, chemists, economists, sociologists, psychologists, and philosophers. Complicated enough, but think of a government without politicians. Indeed, there is little government at all in the New Atlantis. These governors are engaged rather in controlling nature than in ruling man. The end.
What was that? Super cool society. It's democratic, apparently, but not. It's just by pure democracy. Like, I like that guy the best. He's obviously the best technician. Make him president technician. That guy's the best astronomer. Make him president astronomer. Pretty sick. Definitely think that we could have a loose, like, obviously it would be hard to get to this end, but I think in a loose form we should have an ongoing form of number ones in whatever field exists, like number one streamer. True. Like, that's just an example. Is it a bad example? Of course, I didn't even mean it, but it was an example. I want to play back that
and
part.
Philosophers. Complicated enough, but think of a government without politicians. Indeed, there is little government at all in the New Atlantis. These governors are engaged rather in controlling nature than in ruling man.
Okay, interesting. Governing nature instead of ruling man.
The end of our foundation is the knowledge of causes and secret motions of things.
Okay, he wasn't going to continue on that point. But how would that even work out? Instead of like ordering people around, it's kind of like, how are you going to get water to your house? Kind of governing nature, right? We want our politicians to do that. How are you going to get energy to your house? How are you going to, get to work? Maybe government takes care of where roads go, things like that. They're all real ideas of government, controlling nature instead of people. We should choose good city planners and industrial for water. I don't know. I don't know every aspect of life, but I could see it working.
And the enlarging of the bounds of human empire to the effecting of all things possible. These governors are engaged rather in controlling nature than in ruling man. The end of our foundation is the knowledge of causes and secret motions of things, and the enlarging of the bounds of human empire to the effecting of all things possible. This is the key sentence of the book and of Francis Bacon. We find the governors engaged in such undignified tasks as studying the stars, arranging to utilize for industry the power of falling water, developing gases for the cure of various ailments, experimenting on animals for surgical knowledge.
Yo, look at that 5 head. My God. Oh my good. Sorry, bro. Bad on that. And the last port.
growing new varieties of plants and animals by crossbreeding, etc. We imitate the flights of birds. We have some degree of flying in the air. We have ships and boats for going under water. There is foreign trade, but of an unusual sort. The island produces what it consumes and consumes what it produces. It does not go to war for foreign markets. We maintain a trade not of gold, silver, or jewels, nor for silks, nor for spices, nor for any other commodity or matter, but only for God's first creature, which was light, to have light of the growth of all parts of the world. These merchants of light are members of Solomon's house who are sent abroad every 12 years to live among foreign peoples of every quarter of the civilized globe, to learn their language and study their sciences and industries and literatures, and to return at the end of the 12 years to report their findings to the leaders of Solomon's house.
And their only export are lights, and it's just like explorers who go out and explore, journal, and learn things, and then report back to. It's basically like Star Trek and Earth. It's just like, yeah, we just send out badass ships into space from Earth, go send like push peace to further parts of the galaxy. I haven't watched a lot of Star Trek. Is that what's happening? But that's what I imagine, and that's super cool. See all these utopian thinking medias, like the New Atlantis. There's like, the idealism is so sick to me. I don't know. We just don't get it a lot. We get a lot of doomer stuff and just realist crap that, you know, we're gonna die. Utopian thinking, just like, it changes your mind towards something more positive, you know?
While their places abroad are taken by a new group of scientific explorers. In this way, the best of all the world comes soon to the New Atlantis. Brief as the picture is, we see in it again the outline of every philosopher's utopia, a people guided in peace and modest plenty by their wisest men. The dream of every thinker is to replace the politician by the scientist. Why does it remain only a dream after so many incarnations? Is it because the thinker is too dreamily intellectual to go out into the arena of affairs and build his concept into reality?
Is it? I mean, could be. I feel like a lot of thinkers don't actually make it to become public speakers and share their ideas and take control of, you know, of public office and things. Rather write the books. Totally get that. Why we're out here, man, doing a thing. And I encourage, you know, you intellectual, smart, thoughtful, empathetic people, get involved more. However disconnected you need to feel from that interaction, still interact with the world, because we need you.
Is it because the hard ambition of the narrowly acquisitive soul is forever destined to overcome the gentle and scrupulous aspirations of philosophers and saints? Or is it that science is not yet grown to maturity and conscious power, that only in our day do physicists and chemists and technicians begin to see that the rising role of science in industry and war gives them a pivotal position in social strategy, and points to the time when their organized strength will persuade the world to call them to leadership?
The heavy question.
Perhaps science has not yet merited the mastery of the world, and perhaps in a little while it will.
I feel like science is at a level, you know, obviously the furthest we've come, 2022, shout outs to you. But science on individual scales is still very hard and can accomplish, you know, feats like, you know, landing the Falcon 9 of SpaceX because of one person. Like, that's a whole team and collective effort of hundreds of people putting their minds together, and effort and technology. produce our best science, you know? So, oh wow, I stopped it right on the ball there. All right, cool. That was it. That was 6 minutes. For sure, for sure. Well, I definitely do want to read the book. Um, that's pretty much it for broadcast. Don't think I want to read it tonight. Gonna be honest with you. It's midnight and need some sleep before my success coach for college tells me if I'm doing everything right this semester. And it's my last semester. And I'm going to be sharing philosophy homework with you in the future. So, get ready for more of this. If you love this, please follow the channel and, follow the Instagram down here in that corner. Cool. Very cool, guys. Thanks for stopping in, checking this video out. Appreciate you for that. Also, love you. Peace and love to the world. We do it. Se puedo. Puede.